Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 27th of February. What we've got in lined up today is just a look at the news events first. So just been running through this, just having some data coming through, being released at the same time here. French consumer confidence falling slightly there. Not a great impact on markets, that particular data. What we've got the ECB speaker there at 12 o'clock. Then the more important data today, as in market moving data, is the durable goods there at 1:30, in particularly the core durable goods. We've got the Bank of England speaker there at 1:40, and Fed bar speaker, you can follow that one on this system with financial juice there at 205. US consumer confidence at 3. So few numbers there. That's not a big mover. I know it's highlighted in red here. It doesn't generally impact the markets. Right. Let's look at the market. So technicals wise here, we've still got this drift to the upside on the euro. It's probably clearer to see in a sense on the lower time frames here. In fact, let me get rid of this regression channel. It's making too many lines on my chart. So it's as I say, pushing up higher lows that we've seen up until now. Got one sort of here, but hasn't broken out through the high hit there, so it's not quite so significant at this stage. But well, anyway, it's working its way up there. To buy into this, well, I prefer to see the pivot hit first. Yesterday it did literally just run off through there. Where is that? Just checking. Yep, that was yesterday. it did run off there for most of the morning there, and then just consolidated through. Now we're seeing this sort of consolidation and possible break. It's probably certainly worth waiting to see if we get a continuation of that break to the upside. Personally, I'd love to see the pivot hit first, and then see if we can get a reaction off it. Ideally, it's got the high probability of that pivot hitting. No sort of significant news before then, so let's see what happens. If it breaks the pivot, well, then the idea is off. If it hits the pivot and starts bouncing, well, maybe we've got some more upside, a drift to continue. US dollar, the pound dollar, even the pound. Technically, there's lots of reasons why this might push up a little bit more. It's consolidating around its monthly pivot there. It's really struggling to do too much at all here, but it is forming one of these ugly wedges. When I look at it on the lower time frame, I do not like these particularly, because they've got a habit of breaking and then coming back into the price, coming back into, and then going all over the place. So you can see the pendency sort of pattern. They're quite unreliable. It's a bit of a 50-50, and that's the problem. It sort of pops out one way, fouls, might eventually go the other, but yeah, we'll see what that does. I'm not going to be drawn into it. US dollar yen. Okay, bring this into play. There we go. Now this was running up quite nicely. That's been brought to my attention, the potential of some rejiggling as we move towards the end of the month, and this could be affected. There is talk of the completion of the negative interest rates for the Japanese yen. They've been talking about it for a long time, and it might eventually happen, and it could be being priced in a little bit, but it's not a great mover, because even if they do move them, they're still going to be ultra low. But anyway, consolidated. You can see the chop. It's not the cleanest market to be trading at the moment. Aussie dollar. Talk about messy markets. Now just watching this now. It has on the dailies here come back, retested my pivotal line. I say mine, it's just where the pivots between the previous highs and lows, and it's come into effect quite a lot and given support or resistance over the months. We're catching the bounce from that. It also ties in with the 4 hourly, the weekly S1 here, coming to the underside of the pivot. Now here it's sort of a key level, this weekly pivot. If the price actually comes into this and then starts reacting, well, perhaps we got more short downside there. We have got a lower high in on this time frame, so it has effectively structurally changed somewhat. We broke the original upward trend there, so that's been broken, so there is scope for it to roll over. End of month balancing might cause more chop though through all of these markets, Aussie included. I have nothing there right at the moment. The US dollar, Canadian dollar, I was looking for more upside on this, expecting more upside, but again the calculations here, it's putting little higher lows in there. It's got quite messy. It broke its neckline of this sort of head and shoulder sort of pattern there, broke that, ran through, found support into its quarterly pivot, bounced off that, and now it's sort of chopping between. It's spent a lot of time chopping this year, one way or t'other. Bit of trend in the earlier week or so, and then it just chops sideways, and it's a difficult one. It's a bit directionless, with a faint urge of upside. Sentiment's not particularly strong on it. New Zealand dollar, we got data coming out. We got the central bank meeting for the New Zealand dollar tomorrow or Thursday. I can't remember which day it is now. But I would tread carefully. Yes, intraday this might give some opportunities. I quite like the fact that it's bouncing back off its quarterly pivot at the moment here. It's just looking at what it's been doing. We were talking about this last night in the swing room actually. So yes, that looks like it's got some scope. Maybe for today, I wouldn't look at this as a long-term swing, but well, hang on a minute. Got to just be careful into this weekly, daily pivot. See what the reaction. If it can close above it, it becomes a bit more interesting. So it is a patience game here. It could just react to that. You can see on this time frames, it's got the lower highs in here, and it's looking a tad on the soft side, but it's sort of just bounced off a key level here. Maybe it'll get a bit more legs and break through this pivot here. I shall just add an alert on that, so that's popped in there to remind me of that buzzy. So yep, right, US dollar Swissy just continues to consolidate, no interest in that at the moment. Euro yen continues largely in this bigger move to the upside here. Bit of yen strength this morning. Well, we could get a bit of a correction after all of this, but we're certainly not looking to sell it. And with the way it's moved, there's not a lot of buying opportunities kicking in quite yet. Actually, let's just come back to it because I can see something on another chart here with it. Yeah, it's looking a bit ugly on the lower time frames here on the hourlies. We'll see how it shapes up during the morning, but it is only, if you was to be shorting it, it is only a very short term opportunity, and I'd give that a couple of hours anyway to let it sort itself out. Euro pound, discussed this last night, and it's very, very choppy. By the way, if you want to just catch up with the details of the swing meeting I held yesterday evening, it is on my video channel, YouTube channel, under live videos. So it's under there somewhere, listed under live. It might just be listed in videos and what you can see, but it's live for me anyway. This, as I said with that, this isn't really going too far. It's difficult to be trading. At one stage, it looked like it was going to break through the monthly pivot and get a bit of a leg up and change the direction. Other stages then leading into last week, looking like it was going to come back down towards its lows there. So it's chopping, and it's just more risk than I need to take on at the moment. Not interested in most of these other pairs. Euro CAD could be an exception. Break of the highs here could be a bit more interesting. It's ball flaggy on the 4 hourlies, and well, it's just coming off its air kissed its daily pivot here. We'll see how this reacts as we go through the morning here. It could just get us into a mini swing. I wouldn't be looking to hold it too long, but we'll see what we can do with that. So that is on my short list. Okay, we'll run through the rest of these Forex pairs in the session later. Way up there, it's slightly more in favour on the sentiment basis. When you look at it on the 4-hour picture, well, it could be seen more as on the buy side, but I can't see an entry there at this stage. Oil. Now oil was looking, and it's still got potential to break the highs here, but it's dithering. It might need a few more days to get any momentum if it is going to push up. It is at least, I'll just come back to this, it is consolidating around the upper side of this move, which is a bit more of a bullish sign, but it's struggling. Yesterday it did get the kickoff. There go at 2 o'clock there, but from the low side of things, it had gone really quite ugly leading into it, but did get the kicker. I talk about this 2 o'clock kicker. It's the time that you get the most volume running through there, and often it will lead you into, if you've got a decent signal, into something. But this is, well, anyway, possible more upside with oil there. S&Ps, we saw some selling coming through here. It's not significant selling. It has put a little bit pivot swing in there, looking a little bit bearish, and well, may get corrections, but as I mentioned already, at the end of the month, rejiggling, might see selling. We'll see what happens here. But it also gives some opportunities. I'm looking at the 4-hourly picture here. If it gets down to that 4-hourly pivot, if it reacts to it, we could get a nice little bounce. That could be a potential. I'm just looking. It hasn't been too playful actually. It was back here. It seems to run through them a little bit, but as I said, you wait for the bounce. So you wait for the action to come off. Once it's come off there, you can look for the move up there. So just waiting to see if it comes back to this pivot. Might be a bit of an opportunity there. Nasdaq is still blowing. Nvidia, if you're trading Nvidia, it's managed to get into Nvidia, it's still flying up there, and drawing up some of these, like I said, Nasdaq, etc. I'm just looking again. A pullback to the weekly pivot might be quite nice, but we'll see what happens. DAX is just continuing to consolidate here. Really small ranges, though, so tight. It's one of the things with a lot of the markets at the moment. We've gone into this really tight ranges, and even for sort of an intraday, it makes things really quite awkward for sure. The FTSE, just to me, it's just an absolute mess here at this stage. So not really worth doing too much there. It has done a sort of a Gartley-like pattern, the FTSE. I'll just draw what I mean by this. So a Gartley it sort of comes up here, pulls back here, and then so that's what we got here. Pulled up, pulled back here. Hasn't quite run out the top there, but often, I say often, they can start failing, and it's just a exhaustive move effectively. You sort of can't manage to make a new high. It's done in for, but we'll see. At the moment it's holding up there. If it does get a kicker, fine. I'd be probably looking down here somewhere if I was looking to trade and looking for the bigger move. Bit of patience needed. Anyway, just thought I'd share that. Okay, that's pretty much it for this morning for this session. Bitcoin, I'll just have a look. Bitcoin's been absolutely flying ahead, isn't it? Come out of all that nice consolidation. As I said before, the consolidation around the highs here always looks like it's got more potential to the upside when it does that, and it has. And yesterday, today, moving quite nicely at the moment. A real sign of greed in there, that's no problem. For the momentum of it for sure at the moment, and we're not a million miles away. I'm just looking for the absolute highs here where we got to previously. We're not a million miles now away, 68,000. So it's on its way. It's on its way. Anyway, there we are. That will draw up other markets, and you'll see chain link, etc., pushing up in the same sort of way, although that hasn't actually stretched its legs the same as some of the others. But certainly, if they haven't done things like this, Litecoin's not really done too much. Well, it ain't so good. Keep away from it. Flags, it's flatlining a little bit. There you go. It has had a little bit of a move over the last couple of days, but not necessarily the same extent in real terms. Okay, I'll leave it there. I'll catch you in the room later if you want to come and join me about 8:35. Otherwise, I'll speak to you in the morning. Bye for now.